Welcome everyone. Happy Sunday. How are you today? How is everyone today? Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. I hope that you are keeping safe, strong and well. It's very nice to actually see some people already here, so it's good. Today is going to be a brilliant day. We're going to have a new story, a real story from someone from Canada, Georgette Damian, and she's going to be here talking about their journey, a story. And hi Tanya, I can see you there. How are you doing? And I think today I've got a question for you, and I'd like to ask you, do you like your job? Is your work actually aligned with your purpose? And is that fulfilling you? Because the story we're having today is someone that actually very brave, that has decided that no longer wanted to be around in the corporate finance world. She wanted to really change her life completely, and she actually had the guts to actually listen to her heart and to actually see what she wants to do next. And sometimes we don't actually have we're not brave enough to actually follow that path. So the question here for you guys is, do you like what you're doing now, or would you like to actually to change and do something else? Would you actually have the courage to do it? That is my question for you today. So let me see if more people actually come in, and let's give a few minutes more to allow people to join us. And meantime, I want to say thank you so much to Mathbots from England, because he was so brave. He shared his story about the mental health and homeless situation he had in his past, and was really powerful, his story. And I invite you all after this live today, if you didn't hear his story, to actually go back to his talk we did 2 weeks ago, and listen to Math's stories, because it's about really how can we human beings become more human, and how can we actually connect more and help more each other, because what we need really in this world is each other. It's not been easy during these times, and we really need to have that, someone to actually listen to us. So I'd love to see if Georgette is on the call now. Georgette, are you there? Tanya, I think probably you need to just send a message, or Eve, to Georgette, just make sure. Oh, she's here, I can see you there. Hello, Osvaldo, I can see you there as well from Portugal. I'm going to add now Georgette. I can see you there. We're just waiting for a few minutes. I want to really ask you guys to pause with MONII today. We need to learn to breathe in, breathe out.
Hi.
How are you doing, Georgette?
I'm good, Jill. Let me just adjust my phone because it's
just your phone is all good. I'm just inviting people to actually be open to our space today, because I'm open to your story. I'm open to be inspired by what you have to tell us, because I know it's been a beautiful journey. And I want to really understand how come someone that actually has an MBA, from MBA student to corporate finance, and now actually a spiritual healer and teacher, tell us more about your background as well, because I know you half Mexican, half Lebanese, is that right? Tell us more.
Yeah, so my mom is Mexican. My father, who just passed away at the end of 2020, he was Lebanese. Yeah. So that there's a story to that too, but I'll get into it.
Yeah.
So both.
So you're born in Mexico, yes?
Yes, I was born there. Both met in Mexico, and he had family in Montreal, but at that time he had been vacationing in Mexico, and that's how they met.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. So growing up, I only grew up with him for 8 years of my life. After that, they divorced and I never saw him again. So growing up without a father and being the oldest of the two girls, my mom has to, I have a sister, she's younger.
Yeah.
So being the oldest, I always put a lot of pressure on myself subconsciously, because I think that seeing, my mom kind of worried about raising two girls by herself. And then I think subconsciously I took on more responsibility that I should have. So always I was just striving to do more, help her, be a good student, have all the scholarships, all the things that would ease the burden for her. And I was always like, the top student, and I was super well behaved, just
Really?
not to give her trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Wanted
had
to do more.
Sorry?
You always wanted to do more and well because of for your mom, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I don't know, it's probably already embedded in me, like that drive and that wanting to do more, and striving and always going after the next thing, and okay, what's next, the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. um, and that led me to eventually, all of my student life I had good grades, and then I knew that I wanted to migrate. I always knew, since I was a little girl, that I wasn't meant to live in Mexico, that at
It's
some
so
point
funny.
I
I
would
can relate to
migrate.
that story too.
Yeah, that at some point I would leave the country and live abroad.
Wow.
And that's what happened after I graduated from, I don't know, university, college, how do you call it? I worked a few years in Mexico City, and then I applied for my MBA in Canada, and I got here in August 2013. So I studied an MBA with a concentration in finance at McGill
Yeah.
University. And then when I graduated in May 2015, I graduated unemployed without a job. So I was unemployed for 6 months.
Right.
But I think those 6 months were the beginning of my awakening and of the realization of the things that really made me happy, or at least the things I didn't want.
Yeah.
For example, I didn't want to be in an environment that was stressful. When I was at the MBA, I was doing an internship at a pension fund manager, and I remember that seeing like everybody cardboard, like very strict, everybody in gray suits. It was like kind of a gray environment, and my personality was more colorful. I was trying to fit into a mold that I knew deep within that it wasn't me. So when I wasn't offered a full-time position after my internship ended, the instinctive reaction was relief. And then the fear kicked in. It was like, okay, you're gonna stay in Canada. Are you sure you don't have a job? Part of me was like, go back to Mexico, play it safe. You have family there. But no, I knew that for some reason, I needed to stay. And then I weathered 6 months of unemployment. I worked part-time gigs. I worked as a bus girl at a restaurant, as a nanny, babysitter, tutor. I was tutoring also finance courses at McGill, until I found my big break came when I got hired at the end of the year in December 2015. I got hired at Cirque du Soleil as a financial analyst first for the corporate side, and then 1 year in I switched to the touring show division. So it has been quite a ride. So yeah, ever since I arrived in Canada, it was like a challenge after challenge after challenge. But it's helped me grow and eventually become the person who I am today, because as an entrepreneur, you need to have thick skin. You don't depend on a paycheck. So you have to be creative. You have to weather those storms and cultivate that trust in the universe, higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. And most of all, trust in yourself, that you're going to be able to push through whatever challenge is thrown at you, and never stop believing in yourself, because it all starts with that, with the belief, and faith that everything will work out. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me spreading the message and getting, because I have a mission to have this message reach as many people as possible and to help as many people as possible to step into their full potential, to heal from all these wounds, like the wounds that I grew up with, not having a father and having all this stored anger towards him, and that was also reflected in my relationships, especially the romantic ones, and that's another story. But we all have our wounds, and we all have our stories, but it's just these wounds and these patterns and these stories that don't allow us to grow, that don't allow us to step into that version, the best version of ourselves, because we are meant to be happy in this life, and that is my mission.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I think this is why it's so important for me, is to make sure that you actually share with us, with our audience, to understand what is that now, the spiritual, journey. What is this spiritual healing? What actually you'd say to people that they don't actually believe in this connection and what healing is about spiritual? What can you say to people?
Well, first I would say that it's the work I do is based and is rooted, deeply rooted in quantum physics. And what is quantum physics? Everything, what does quantum mean? Being able to quantify. So we live in an energetic universe, and the universe is made out of particles, subatomic particles, and you cannot see them because they're, a particle is, I have a book, a particle, this book is made of particles. Our body is made of particles. Everything is made of particles, and everything is energetic. The reason why we perceive it as physical is because it's vibrating at a lower frequency, if you will. But let's say, for example, radio waves, you can't see them, but you tune into the radio when you drive and your radio is working, right? But you're not seeing the person speaking from the other end of the radio right there.
Absolutely.
Someone else speaking, but it's these waves, radio waves, that are bringing the message to your car or whatever you are listening. Wi-Fi, same thing. All these, they're different. It's like oscillating in different radio frequencies. The same thing goes for our ethereal bodies, our energetic bodies. We don't see them because the human eyes can only perceive 0.0000001% of the full light spectrum. That's why when people say, oh, that person can't see ghosts or she's gifted or whatever, it's not. Yes, in a way, we're all gifted, by the way. We can all develop these abilities. Case in point, coming from a corporate background, I developed these abilities. We can all do that. So the reason why these people are called gifted is because they're able to perceive different dimensions, because there are different dimensions to this existence. They can tap into a different dimension when they can see spirits, animals, they can perceive also too, because they can sense different things as well. Different. See, I had a dog, my Max, who passed away like 10 years ago. And when we were doing homework, my sister and I, he was just one day raise his head up and then follow something across the living room. Wow. It's real. Like the reason we've become so entrapped by the logical mind, and everything has to make sense, and we want an explanation for everything. And until we cannot see it, it doesn't exist. That's what's keeping us trapped. Because then, okay, first I'll see it in order for me to believe it. That's why people can't manifest, because first everything exists as an idea. Everything exists in this quantum field. Everything is energetic. And then you have to ground it in to bring it to life. This pen existed as an idea. Someone designed it. But then first you need the design. You need to ground the design into the physicality so that you can start the production process. And that's when all the physical stuff starts. Same thing when you have a dream, you visualize it. And then you take the steps to towards making it a reality.
That is so funny saying that. Yeah.
Right. Like
I had this dream about money in terms like August that time, and now being here, for me, I feel like so real. How come?
Because you believed, right? Because like I was saying, in this quantum universe, all these particles have different vibrations, and we're all connected, by the way, in this quantum universe. That's how I'm able to work with clients, because the power of your thoughts and the power of your intention is super powerful. So be aware of the talks you're telling yourself, everything you're telling yourself, your thoughts, they hold a frequency and they hold a vibration. So you have to be very mindful of the self-talk and of all these thoughts, because you can energize these thoughts and draw to you the experiences to which you are a vibrational match. So that's why it's so important, whenever you're connecting to those particles in the quantum field, make sure that you're connecting to the right ones and the ones that you want to see materialized. So everything, like I said, exists as an idea, then it's up to you to ground it in. But the problem is that people don't believe, so they block themselves off. They cut themselves off from this infinite realm of possibilities.
Yeah.
Because and why do they block themselves off? Because of trauma, emotional trauma, limiting beliefs, subconscious patterns. And that's where I come in to help release those, so that they can embody the divinity and the infinite being that they came here to be.
Yeah.
That there are no limits.
Yeah, there is no limits. But I think the reason maybe some people, they don't believe, do you think it's because of lots of the background stories, where the families they come, and maybe sometimes, maybe do you think that healing and spiritual and self-care should actually be introduced in schools and
Oh,
education, for example,
yes,
be in the curriculum?
absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. Nobody ever taught us to meditate. And it all starts with a calm mind, because when you're in that flight or fight, that reptilian brain, you cannot think creatively. You're just in the prime survival, just the
Yeah.
survival mechanism. And creative thought and expanded thought occurs when the mind is calm, and that you can access your frontal lobe. That's when both hemispheres connect, the logic and the intuition, the steps that you need to follow, and the creativity that will allow you to ground those ideas. But if you can't get out of that reptilian brain, how are you going to see the big picture? Kind of, you're just concerned about surviving.
Yeah.
You're just concerned about meeting immediate needs, and that's what wears you down. That's where stress is the number one killer, because your adrenals are working at 1,000 miles per hour. Adrenal fatigue, I had that when I was working. I was like, I was always tired. I was like, why is this? And because we're raised that that's the way it is. And you don't see an alternative, and you think it's normal, but it's everything but. It is everything but. That existence is not normal, because you're putting a lot of stress in your body, and you want to support brain function by allowing the brain to calm down. And that's where the spirit comes in. What is spirit? These particles in the quantum field that are vibrating at a higher frequency, the highest frequency, because it's spirit itself. And you can call it God, source, the universe, whatever higher power you believe in, but it's particles.
Yeah.
And people reverse this equation of first mind, body, spirit. And we see it kind of in every yoga studio. It's mind, spirit, body, mind, spirit, or something like that. When in reality, it's not. First, it's spirit that comes into the mind, and the mind that is calm, the mind that is, the brain waves of that mind are oscillating at a frequency between theta and delta. And that is the state where you can actually reprogram, where healing actually takes place, because the brain is relaxed. And then the mind, it comes into the mind, and the mind knows where to direct this energy and these spirit particles to heal the body, because the body has this amazing ability to heal itself. It's just that we don't allow it to have the right conditions, because we're always, like I said before, we're always stressed, we're always worried, we're always in survival mode. So it's always, the brain is like,
Exactly.
so no real healing can take place.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you one of the biggest secrets, and probably I'm going to get backlash, but I don't care. Like, I'm here to speak truth.
Yeah, go ahead. We were here to write and see. Come on, we need to learn some kind of tips and some, because I think people, they are with their eyes closed, you know, still. And I think there is so much work that I think, you know, everyone needs to do. And especially, like you say, if this was introduced in schools, can you imagine how the children would behave and feel much better, especially now with this pandemic? Can you imagine the stress, anxiety? How can we actually start feeling more ourselves and like actually calm down and just be, right? So tell
Because
us, come
yeah.
on, Georgette, I'm waiting.
So the biggest secret is that medication, you take the pill, what it does to the brain is exactly numb it, like calm it down. And that's where you believe, that's where the belief comes in. When you take a pill that is specifically designed for to treat an ailment, you're energizing that thought. You're saying this will help me relieve my stomach pain, headache, blah, you name it. You take the pill. The only thing the pill does is calm the mind down, calm the brain down. And then the rest you're ingesting are chemicals. When that pill that you could take could be an etheric pill that you do in meditation, energizing the thought that you want to materialize without you to have to physically have to take something.
So
all these chemicals, all these things, the body has this marvelous ability to heal itself, but we just need to support it with the right nutrition, right habits, sleeping, meditating, exercising, everything. But it's the discipline. How many people are disciplined enough to watch out for what they eat, to have a healthy sleep schedule? So many factors. It's always so much easier to blame the outside for our internal state of being, for our current circumstances. And it's always easier to look for that magic pill that will fix everything.
yeah,
When in reality, we need to fix our thinking. And it's not fixing, it's actually healing it and adjusting it and being really honest with ourselves, because that's the scary part. People are afraid to go there because of the trauma, because of the things that they lived, and it's not easy. That's what's called shadow work.
yeah.
To actually address the shadows within that. It's, I know that this is my pattern. I know that, for example, I'll take myself as an example. I know that I had a pattern of entertaining toxic relationships, of men that were not available emotionally, whatever, you name it. And this pattern stemmed from not having grown up with a father figure, because I always had these abandonment issues. Who is gonna have first the strength to admit, yes, I have a problem, or yes, I have a pattern, and it comes from that situation.
Yeah,
it's like kind of the trauma of revisiting it. But and you know what, like the methods I work with are non-invasive. It's not like going to a psychotherapist and revisiting your stories over and over and over. It's just getting there, removing the energetics, getting the person relaxed enough for them to be able to go and see it in their minds and just reprogram. Because everything all we're doing is working with universal principles. We're changing the polarity. Polarity is one of the main universal principles. Everything exists in positives and negatives. We're just changing the polarity of the neurons, where that memory, that are connecting to a part of the universe where the memory is stored. Because the universe also is like a recording. It's like a magnetic band. Think of it as a magnetic band where everything is stored. So every time that you remember something that happened, your neurons are connecting to that specific, they call it the Akashic record. For those who are familiar with spiritual jargon, that's what they call.
I want to learn more, because I'm sure there is more people here like me that we want just to really understand, you know, first of all, is about what you do as well, what actually, how do you help people, but also will be very interesting as well for our audience and for myself and other people. Is like, what else can we do to help ourselves in terms, you know, you already touched on meditation, you already touched, you know, to make sure that we look after ourselves, our body, but is, you know, what do you do first of all, and tell us if there is anything that we can learn and to be more connected spiritually, you know.
So part of this is what I was going at. This is part of the methods I do, which is similar to hypnosis, but more effective in terms that you don't need to spend half an hour relaxing the client. With these methods, you relax the client between 5 to 10 minutes, believe it or not, 5 to 10 minutes, and you can actually spend the rest of the session doing the actual work.
All right.
So what I do in the sessions is working with these principles, universal principles, polarity. You change the polarity of the neuron that is holding that memory from negative to positive.
Right.
And that way, when you come out of it and you release anything you need to release, so because there's some emotional release taking place as well during the session, when time goes by, you remember that specific episode that was hurtful in your life, and you don't have that energetic, that negatively charged emotional, that negative, emotion, that negative emotion is not there anymore, because we reverse the polarity. We change it from negative to positive, and just working with universal principles. But like I said, nobody ever taught us this, how the universe works, what the principles are, how you can heal your mind, your brain. Why? Because it's not in the system's best interest. The system wants people who consume, who are dependent on drugs and narcotics. It can be in either narcotics or drugs prescribed by a physician. In my opinion, there's no difference. They make you addicted. So it's not in the system's best interest to have sovereign people, empowered people, because it's all about consume, give away your power, obey, live in fear, because that's how we can control you, through fear.
Yes, I get you.
Yeah. So that's why these things are not taught in school. They don't teach meditation. They don't teach how to heal yourself. They don't teach you how to have a proper nutrition program. Heck, they don't even teach us how to deal with taxes and money. Why? Because they want us enslaved, always working for someone else in a corporate job. It's just schools, in my opinion, and I've been through the whole schooling system all the way to masters, so I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Schools are perfect to condition people to become workers and people who obey and play by the rules. They don't encourage creative thinking, entrepreneurial thinking. Yeah. And that has been one of my biggest challenges coming out of the corporate world and starting a business on my own. It has required me to think in such a different way. And it's been a challenge, but I'm doing it. And I'm like, there's nothing that I cannot accomplish. I believe in myself, but it's getting to this point has required for me to do so much inner work and so much reprogramming of 30 something plus years of being taught that how things were, and then having that reality come crumbling down, and then like, okay,
must be amazing. You might be like living like in a world that now you're in a position to share and tell more people about it. And is there anything that you would recommend, or tips that you would like to teach our audience, just to, because I'd love to learn more about, because I have to say, I do believe exactly what you say. I think personally in my life as well, I had to really connect with myself inside to come out of so many struggles I had, and having, and whatever we do, and it's about really tell us what else can we do in terms of helping ourselves.
If you don't have a journaling practice already, I highly suggest and encourage that you start journaling. Because with journaling, you start telling your soul that you want to establish that connection and that dialogue, so that your soul can show you the way, so that it can show you what it is that you have inside. Because the first few times that I started journaling, and then I read what I had journaled about, I read it back, and I was mind blown. I was like, yeah, this is exactly how I feel, and how come I hadn't realized that? How come I hadn't noticed? And the more that you do it, the more that you will allow this higher self, your higher self or your soul, to connect with you and tell you, guide you. But it's a matter of, like I said, it's taking the time. How many people really take the time? there's always something to do, right?
Yes.
I'm busy, that's the excuse.
They never have the time for anything.
No, but it's like, it's the most important appointment that you have is with yourself. So carve the time. You have, I'm pretty sure you have 10 minutes, 20 minutes during the day just to have this soul work.
Yeah.
Whether it's meditation and journaling. And even if you can't, like, I know that a lot of people come to me struggling how to meditate. They think that they have to look like freaking Buddha on a mountaintop and in order to have a good meditation. And I tell them, no, just meditating is sitting with your eyes closed and focusing on your breath. Yeah. And probably the first times a lot of thoughts are going to flood you, and that's okay. You're still meditating. There will come a point where these thoughts will get quieter and quieter, and you will be able to hold the meditation longer.
Yeah.
But just try. It doesn't have to look a certain way. I still have days where I meditate and all these thoughts are coming, and I just allow them. I don't resist them. It's like, okay, I see you. I see the thought coming. I acknowledge it, and then it goes away.
Absolutely.
So you observe them, and you don't get fixated in, like they say, control your thoughts. No, observe your thoughts.
So Georgette, what is your biggest fear for 2021? What is
my
that?
biggest
And
fear? Not being able to fulfill and serve the people that I know that I'm meant to serve. Yeah.
Yeah. Because time is just flying away, right?
Listen, it's gonna be February tomorrow, so yeah.
Excellent. What is the easiest way to overcome fear for you, and what can you say to our audience?
The easiest way? Well, I don't think there's an easy way. So I would rephrase that. There's no easy way to overcome fear, but what you can do is have a conversation with fear. Like I said in that conversation we had on Friday, make fear your friend. Yeah. And you can actually sit with it, and in journaling, you can ask, what does it want? Why are you showing up now? Why am I afraid? Okay, yeah. I'm afraid of this. Why? Because I'm afraid that if X happens, then Y will happen. And then I promise that 99% of the time after you write down your fear, it's not as big as you think. And it probably won't never play out. Like over 90% of my fears have never played out. And it's just the worry that you keep energizing those fears with worry. Yeah. That's what wears you down, that worry.
So tell us 3 things that about you that will surprise us, because I know you do also. Go on, tell our audience what 3 things that will surprise us. Go on.
One, I became a best-selling author last year with this book, where I share my story. It's a compilation of awakening stories, including mine. So if you're ever interested, I still have a few copies left. So just send me a message if you want one. It's about, I tell everything about what happened, how I made the transition. And the rest of the stories in this book are very soothing and very enlightening, and also motivating. And we could all use some motivation at this time. So
absolutely. So everyone that is watching, please make sure that if you want to a copy, Georgette will be speaking and responding to all your questions as well after this live session at MONII. So you can go back to everyone as well. Amazing. Well, go on. And
second one, I have oh my God, he's turning 9. An 8-year-old nephew that I haven't seen in almost 2 years since the pandemic started. Because I was planning to go back last year, but then I couldn't go. So
right?
Yeah, to Mexico. And he's just like he's so connected, and I see him and he blows my mind about how wise he is and all the things he says. And when my mom asked him, what is your favorite part of your body? And he said, my heart. Like, these kids are the future. These kids are so connected. These kids are here to change the consciousness of the planet. So having meant I'm his godmother. So having him as the son that I still, because I'm single, I don't have kids.
Yeah.
So I see him as my guinea pig to initiate into all these things of spirituality and
you should be
energy
proud.
healing. Yes,
Absolutely.
very much.
But I agree with you, because all these new generation feels like they're so much more connected, so much more hearted, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And third, I took pole dancing. I'm a pole dancer too. I took pole
Woohoo!
dancing.
Tell us more about that. Why you decided to go into pole dancing, and what was that? How did you overcome the fear and to do all that?
Oh, I started actually in November 1st of 2020. And I started because of the lockdowns, because I used to do yoga, hot yoga, Bikram yoga.
Yeah.
I had been doing yoga for 5 years. And then the studios closed, and that was my outlet, right? To let the stress out and to keep healthy and to move my body. And when the pandemic hit and there was no more studio, and then I started getting really like feeling weak.
Yeah.
So and by the end of the year, towards the end of the year, I was starting to feel all the effects of the lockdowns and being here by myself and all my family back in Mexico and me not being able to travel and a lot of things happening in my personal life, that I really hit a low spot at the end of the year. Like I was getting really, really depressed. And I was thinking, no, this is not me. This is not how I want to feel. This is not me. I need to do something. And I had been wanting to try pole dancing for the past 2 years, but for some reason I didn't. I had my yoga studio, so it was like, yeah, one day, I have this dream that one day I'll do it. And I think all of us can relate to that. Like,
Yeah,
yes, one day I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
and
yeah, always something.
I had the phone sitting on my desk for 6 months, and I said, okay, now it's the time. So I picked up the phone and I called the place, and what unfolded since then has been so magical. My teacher is so sweet, and she's an amazing teacher. She has helped me. She encourages me, and that's super important to have a mentor who encourages you, who believes in you, who never tells you that your dreams are too small or that you cannot do anything or do something. That's one of the things that she's infusing me. Like, even if at first I was like a newbie, and she was like, yes, great. And then I look at the video, I'm like, not so great, but I love you, right? but 3 classes in, I broke one of the toes in my right foot.
Oh no.
And that was almost leading me into another depressive spiral.
Like
and I'm
giving
like,
up almost.
almost, yeah. I was like, oh my God, maybe this is not for me. The stories that could play out. I'm too old. I'm 37. I'm not that old anyways.
You're not too old, but
and then I was like, oh, probably I should have started this sooner. Blah blah blah. What if I fall on my head and all these things? And then I said, no, these fears have no place here.
Yeah.
So I started doing reprogramming on that after I healed. Well, I'm still not fully healed, but after I could actually go back and try to do it again.
Yeah.
The first class, when after coming back, I was still feeling that, resistance. So I was like, no way I'm going to carry this resistance into this, because I really love this sport. I really like it. And and the way you do something is the way you do everything. So I said to myself, I'm not going to I'm not going to carry this fear into my business. I'm not going to carry this fear into my life. I need to do something. So I reprogrammed it. And next thing I knew, I was like flying, doing it upside down. I'm like, no, I cannot say I'm an expert, but I'm getting better.
Very good.
Yeah, but also it's, you have to work on your strength, etc. But I'm telling you, it's mostly mindset, because your body will do what your mind tells it to do. It's mostly mindset. I would say it's like 20% strength, because you need to be strong to pull yourself up and whatever. But if your mind cannot visualize a move, and if your mind cannot be calm, because there are parts where I'm hanging upside down and I have nothing to hold myself with except my knees.
Wow.
So I really have to hold the pole tight, because I'm like facing down. And if I allow that thought to take over, the thought that you're gonna fall, you're gonna fall, you're
And
gonna
we'll
fall,
be
I'm
falling.
gonna fall.
Yes.
So it's, while I'm up there, it's really taming the mind and saying, not even allowing those thoughts to come in. And if they do come in, it's like, okay, see you next. It's just focusing on the next move and on the breath. Okay, I'm focusing on my breath. Where do I have to put the hand now? What's next? And I'm not thinking about what do I have to do after class, if I have clients to see or whatever. I'm there 100% there, because the reason I injured myself in the first place, the reason I broke my toe, is because I was somewhere else. I was thinking about something else.
It's because we're not present, right?
Exactly. I was not present. And then I miscalculated and I
we're present. Cheers.
Cheers. I kicked the pole with full force. And then next thing you know, my toe was like all the way open to this side. And I'm like, my teacher was like, oh my God. She said, put it back in its place. I don't know what, I don't know how. You do it, you do it, you do it. And I looked away and she pulled it and she was like, it was just hearing. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so swollen and so blue that day, almost black. Anyways,
anyway, I can say that you're very brave. Well done, you, because I don't know if I would have the courage after doing that to carry on. So it's good, and it's been amazing. We're almost finishing, but before we end, I would like to ask everyone that is actually watching here live now, if you have any questions for Georgette, please make sure you feel free to write in the comments, because we're going to ask the question to Georgette, and if she doesn't reply to all after this live talk, she will get back to you as well. But before we go, can you leave us some 3 takeaways, please, that you'd like
3 takeaways.
Yes, for our audience today, because it's about all your story, your journey, it's about all your spiritual journey, 3 takeaways that you'd like to leave today to our audience.
Okay. First one, take care of yourself, take care of your body, because your body is so sacred. It is the home to your soul. And it is the vessel, it's the vehicle that will take you to the end of your life, that will help you to fulfill your mission, whatever that mission is. And besides that mission, your mission is to be happy. If you take care of your car and you give your car maintenance, why don't you give maintenance to this? So first of all, take care of your body. Second, what do you want? Like, write a list of the things that make you happy and do them as often as you can. Because when you are in that state of joy, it will raise your vibration and you will allow to connect to this spirit that I was referring to before, that will show you the way that you are, where you will be the happiest. And sometimes like these things will mean that you will shed friendships or even jobs like I did.
Yeah.
And it can be scary, but just trust the process. That would be the third thing. Trust, have full trust and full faith in a higher power, in the universe, in whatever you want to believe it, but trust that everything will be okay, and trust yourself. Because if you dedicate yourself, like seriously, you can do amazing things. You have the power within. We are so powerful, beyond measure and beyond comprehension. And I just want you to understand how powerful you are if you choose to step into that power.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Georgette.
And I would like to leave a message for 2021, for all of us, all the ones who are tuning in. Or
go ahead, then. I want to see. That's the best part, guys. Let's see.
Yay. Like also there's a lot of stigma around tarot because of all this, conditioning about being of the devil and whatever. But what really tarot is just tapping into the energy of the collective, tapping into this quantum field and having it materialized into a deck and just delivering a message that I'm already sensing, but it's like a confirmation. So that's tarot demystified.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
We
so
need
let's
that.
see.
Come on, more talking about this, because I think it's still a taboo, and this is why MONII is here. Is really, there is no taboos
No
here, no
taboos.
filters, and we want to be really make sure people understand that people have real stories. This is the real stories in our communities, our societies.
Listen,
Okay.
like I have a Catholic grandma. I was raised super Catholic, and I'm like reading tarot and pole dancing. Oh my god!
That's shocking, right? For so many people.
For like
Because
a Mexican Catholic, what the hell?
exactly, but this is actually something that we were like, oh my god, Georgette does pool dancing, and actually she's been coming from a corporate finance background, and there's all these things that people they don't understand. Then she's now into a spiritual healer and teacher. So it's been great to understand your story today, and I hope
Thank
people,
you,
if you
thank you.
just joining now, make sure you listen to all the story. Go ahead, Georgette.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is so on point. So I got two cards, always working with polarity. So two, emotional withdrawal and patience and planning, which is perfect. This time that we're living in, these lockdowns, you can look at, you always have the choice to look at it as, oh my God, everything is going so wrong. I cannot see friends. I cannot go out. I can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And look at the negative side. But this is the positive side. This is calling us to go within, like this emotional withdrawal. You see that person sitting down in meditation, asking yourself, what is it? What patterns are keeping me from embracing my greatness? What patterns are keeping me in a disempowered state? What patterns are keeping me in fear? And having a conversation with those. It's not that they're bad. They're here to help you grow. If you choose to let them help you grow, if you choose to extract the lesson that they're trying to teach. So this is what this card is calling us to do right now. And patience, cultivating patience, because it's so hard, myself included. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect, like far from it. And I struggle with that a lot, having the patience that just one step, baby steps, one foot in front of the other, you're eventually gonna get.
That.
So this one is even like reinforcing the message. So have the patience to go within, and as long as you have this will naturally flow. It will become easier. So this is what we're called to do right now, working on ourselves, sitting, doing the shadow work, sitting with ourselves, having that honest conversation with ourselves, doing the inner work, and just being patient. And when it's time to go out into the world, if you will go out being a stronger, more resilient, wiser person, and knowing yourself better, because this what we have been gifted. It's really what we have been given is a gift. The gift of having all these rat race slow down and really having these conversations with ourselves.
So guys, you know now the bigger lesson here, we all been gifted with about using our gifts into the world and make sure that we spread light, happiness, and healing everywhere, isn't it? Thank you so much, Georgette. It's
Thank
been
you,
a pleasure.
Monica. Thank you for giving me this platform, for allowing me to share my story with your audience and with everyone. It's such a pleasure. Thank you. And I love your energy too.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you. Guys, thank you so much for today's talk. And I'll see you in 2 weeks' time with another story and from another country. And hopefully you enjoyed. And make sure you keep your comments there, questions, because Georgette will be answering you all after this live. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.